Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's a Monday, August the 26th, 7:38 p.m. Thank you so much for being live with us. About 12 people live. I know that I didn't do my usual posting today, but I've been a little busy. But definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. We have unfortunate news. Another loss. A loss after being unbeaten for a while. Our unbeaten streak went to a halt. There's nothing, unfortunately, there's nothing more that we could say. It was a terrible performance by the Lions. An 8-game unbeaten run in all competitions came to a very fast halt in a very subpar performance by the Lions, 3-0 loss to Sporting KC. And we had 2 weeks off, and these are a couple things that could occur. We're going to dive into what happened. Why did we look so bad? What worked, why didn't work? The YT didn't save us again this time, but definitely Oscar Pareja was disappointed at the end of the game in the post press conference, which it was the lowest viewed post presser ever in the history. I felt like no one wanted to hear about what happened. It was the lowest reacted tweet we've ever put out. It was insane, but definitely that's what happens when you get L's. But we'll discuss all of that and more. We also not only we had the review of the Sporting KC loss, but also what's going to happen. What's our schedule like? How's it looking for the Lions? So we'll discuss all of that and more. I'm here with John. And John, how are you, my friend? How you feel after this defeat?
Yeah, Saturday night I was pretty bummed. That was hard to watch. Just really one of those games where you want to just forget about it. So I'm not surprised that people are not, watching the post press conference footage, because it's just sort of that situation where you're like, I want to put that one behind us and move on. But yeah, not a good performance. We'll get into it, but I was struggling to think of a lot of good things we did. I think the first 10 minutes was good, and then it all sort of went downhill from there, Luis. So yeah, not a great weekend. Hoping for better things coming this weekend, as we're gonna play Nashville, but let's see. So we'll get into the highlights and talk more about Sporting first.
For sure. Thank you to the about 35 people live. We're also live on Instagram. So thank you so much for your support. We're going to dive into the footage of what occurred. But, what are some, John, some takeaways out of this game that you get? We kind of pretty much faced one of the worst teams in the West. I guess I was looking at they were talking in some shows like Golazo and stuff, saying that they're bottom feeders, bottom dwellers, or something like that, right? So, for starters, what were your some of the things that you felt like this Sporting KC did right that totally make us look really horrible?
I mean, I don't think it was that they did a lot of things right. I think they just pressed us, and they were quite aggressive and quick in their attack and their counter, and they're just clinical when we were not. I think that's more than anything, right? Like the opening sort of 10 minutes or so was looking nice from us. And you can see it here on the momentum. I mean, I don't think it was about first, like, I don't know what, 15, 20 minutes. We were all over them. And then just started to go the other way. And I think Faku said it in the post presser, like they weren't winning second balls. They weren't winning the duels. They were just losing out. And we're making, a bottom dweller KC side, Sporting KC side, look a lot better than they are. And it was not good to see that, considering, our team should and is better, I believe, than Sporting Kansas City. This is just occasion where, we did played nowhere near the level that we can, and made a lot of defensive errors, gave the ball away a lot. I think more I do think they played like well and they attacked well, but I think more so than that, we gave away the game and the fact that we couldn't finish our chances. Like there was their second goal, Luis specifically stands out for this point where we were like getting a bit more momentum, we're getting back into the game, trying to attack, and then we had like numerous chances, couldn't put the ball in the net. They had one chance, they come up the other end and score that second goal. And it was as soon as they started that attack, I was like, that's they're gonna score. Because it just felt that way to me. It really did feel like we were looking like that team again that could not put the ball in the net ourselves, and we're gonna be sloppy and give away defensive errors, give away the ball, and give the other team chances. So I was having flashbacks from the Orlando City from earlier in the season, man, and that's after this long a break, that was my fear that this could happen, and it looks like it has. Let's hope it was just one game, but back to old habits, I think, in a lot of ways here from earlier in the season.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, it was a horrible performance. Being one man, with a one man down, Sporting KC. It's just it was about, like they already looked, their last game they had, turning over the ball pretty easy, but in this game I felt, um, the hosts took advantage of our turnovers. And I think that was what made a huge difference for them. Um, Kyle Smith, Cesar, and unfortunately they didn't have the best game in my opinion, when it came to, kind of, hone onto that ball and hold that ball up, and trying to, play a little defense. I know there was one player, I think it was, I wrote it down, a Freefa, I think it's called. He was cooking them, especially in the counters, and that really is what happened. And now, obviously, we had, the man advantage, and I mean, to me, this was one of the worst games I've seen them play, including in the first of the year. Uh, um, and you come from a.
It was like I don't want to talk about it, but there's a certain game for the beginning of the season, Luis, and this was as bad as that, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it was as bad. Yeah, it was as bad because, look, you're talking about one. I mean, it is a really good, you know, how do I say? It's a team with a lot of history in the MLS. Um, that's done a lot of good to the league. I respect them as an organization, but they are in rebuild mode every year. Um, and when it comes to Orlando City, if we're trying to compete and get to the level, I hate to make the comparison, but to what the Pride is doing on the other side of the pond, we're looking way far to compete. You're looking now at Columbus, how they played against LAFC, and it makes you wonder, as a and I totally understand the fans' reaction and why the fans are so upset. It makes you wonder. It's like, like, what type of team are we, right? I mean, because these types of performances are just not what people want to see, or at least, try to get the draw. I just felt like they just, I don't know, it's like grabbing a a fire extinguisher, and just like, you
Yeah.
know you have
It,
you just trying to extinguish a fire that,
I
it's
mean,
just.
we went up a man, right? They went down
Yeah,
to 10.
yeah,
At what time was that? Like it was plenty of time to then stake a comeback, but I just didn't feel like even we were ever gonna make a comeback. And that last goal, that was, it just showed like, hey, even with 10, we can't still score. And, they're still gonna come up the other end and counterattack us and score anyway. So it was not good. I think overall it's one of those games, like I said, you want to try and move on and forget about. I think there was a few people in particular that performed pretty badly. I think Angulo had
Yeah,
a really
terrible,
rough
terrible game.
game. Dagger did not have a good game either. Jansen, like I think, I'm not some of these scores here or whatever a suffer score, we can debate it all day. We just use it as a starting point for conversation. But
No,
I think they're being a little nice to us here because overall we did not play well. Brecalo didn't have a great match. The defense was not that usual. You know what I mean, Luis? We were not
yeah,
solid. The midfield, same, like Cesar, like Wilder was a bit better, but we were not our usual defensive, difficult to beat under Oscar Pereira as we know selves. It just looked like it was too easy for them at times, you know?
no, I wholeheartedly agree on your assessment there, and it's sad that we're this game was just started bad and then it ended up in being just horrible. Um, you know, we didn't see again. You know, Angulo Angulo was one of the people that was turning over the ball the most, in my opinion. There came Oscar substitutions of Duncan and Martin, and sorry, Duncan and Luis Muriel, and then it's just nothing happened. Just there was a pass that Maguire did to Facu Torres, and then that's it. I feel like the opponents had us by the B. I'm not gonna say the word. They had us by the B. Definitely, starting in the 60th minute, they already knew they were probably going to win this game because we just did not look like we really wanted it, and that's a problem. I think but we'll see the footage. We're gonna share the footage right now. Thank you to everyone that is joining. About 50 people live right now. Thank you so much. Air Vega says, "Hey OCSC fans, thank you, my friend. Hello, awesome picture of Spider-Man right there. All right, let's watch this and relive this stuff that I didn't want to
It's no
talk
problem
about.
scoring.
Now we have the lineup of Sporting KC. Um, to me, we need to get players like Afrifa. I think Afrifa was on fire. Saloy as well. We need to see, Sporting KC kind of they get these players and they really showed up against Orlando. Would you agree that these were probably the best two players they had, or who would you say you like the most?
I think Eric Tommy did all right when he was on the
Yeah, tell me it
field.
was good. Yeah,
I just think, like you said, that I'm not super impressed by. I mean, Davis had a decent game, but I don't rate much of this team. I think this is a very average MLS team, and I think they
yeah. But what
are
will
where they
happen if
are.
we face RSL, for example?
Right. I think where they are for a reason, right? Like I think, Shallow, he's been in the league a long time. He's got some goals in him, whatever. But I just that's the thing. Why I think is more about how badly we performed than the fact that we made them look a lot better than they actually are, and they're just killing us on the counter attack. And that's something we should be doing. That's like our game, and they
Yeah,
beat us at our own game because they were doing it better than us and they were clinical.
yeah,
But in terms of the team, I think probably how does it say FIFO, whatever his name is. Yeah,
yeah, and
he was having a good game. There's just a lot of pace on the counter, and we were playing such a high line that's been caught us out a bunch. When we're being sloppy with a high line like that, we just give the ball away, and then you got Jansen and Breckler, only people anywhere near the back, and it just yeah, we can't recover well in that scenario. I think is also bad, right,
yeah,
Luis? That's
yeah, for sure. I mean,
we
if we
were
can't recover
not
the
they
ball,
getting up, and then there'd be like another phase of play, and they still have the ball, and then there's a guy unmarked in the box, and that's where I'm like, yo, he could have been tackled 20 yards away. You got to mark the guy. Like, you had time. It was just a very poor performance from a team that can and does defend better than that. Like, we defended way better than that against Cruz Azul, and we didn't defend nearly as well against a team that's not nearly as good, and they beat us 3-0.
Yeah, honestly, I will say, once you have a player on the flank that's turning over the ball in a high rate, and then you have your double pivot not stopping the transition from the rival team, that's when it's a domino effect. And I think that's what happened. I mean, you had your wingers dropping the ball, more Angulo, and again, a lot of people are like hitting him really hard. I don't think we should be. I don't think we should just go Wolverine on them. I think we should just, but
Yeah,
you
he
take
just stood out
our
as
double pivot, that it's pretty much our holy grail of what we are as a team right now. You take one of them out, you take the queen or the king out of the chess game, and then everything else just falls apart. It seems that the back line needs to do double duty. Your left back and right backs are being overpowered by Saloy, by Afrifa, and it just goes from there. And it just went downhill from there. And just
well. We put Santos on, who's another aggressive. So you've got Dagger, who's like a right wing back. You've got Santos, who's a right wing back. Like I said, they're doing that what they think they want. They're trying to get back in the game. They're getting high up the field, but it just leaves us completely wide open, Luis. And so it's a bit of a problem,
Yep, for sure. Let's continue here. Thank you to everybody that's joining. About 60 people live right now. Appreciate your support.
But finding William Magada up top. He's got 11 goals in all competitions.
They didn't even play Pulido and Russell
on the season, but very stingy in what they're able to give
They
up.
brought him on.
Yep, and I think we called the lineup. I think it was pretty much common sense.
Yep.
Forward, Martino Hayter. We talked about the streaky.
I thought, what'd you think about that, John?
Cheeky one. Nice effort.
It
looks that's like what people do at the beginning of a FIFA game online.
Right?
So let me try immediately shoot from the halfway line.
That's crazy.
I mean, far off, so
no, but, there's I will say I talked to a lot of Peruvian people, and Peruvian people believe that there's a curse in that stadium. Yes, I know you guys are probably gonna think, what? Yeah, Peru lost in Copa America in that stadium against Canada, and so they're saying that they told Pedro.
I know they used to be the Wizards, but they're not like casting magical curses or anything.
Now they're like, Pedro, that you're pretty much just somebody threw salt on you, Pedro. He needs to go and get some sage on or something like that. So that's what people are saying over there, that when a Peruvian goes and plays in that Children's Mercy Park, it doesn't do really good. But that's Peruvian media for you, trying to make make something out of nothing. But there you go.
Yep.
It's their ability to spread.
Sign, Luis, to me now. Like when we start a game like that, like we did against Cruz Azul, where it's like, oh, there's so many chances so early and we don't take them, then I like a signal start going off in my head, like we're not gonna be able to score at all today. Like I don't know if that's also happening to the players, but there's something about, you know what I mean? Does that happen to you too, where you're just like, is this going to be one of those days where we just can't put it in the net? Because we often will start games creating like multiple chances in the first 10, 20 minutes, like early chances, and we don't score them. And it's like, then it starts to worry, and then it grows and grows. And then by the time it's like the 70th minute, they score, and then we're chasing the game.
Yeah, I think honestly, it was like the Limp Bizkit song, one of those days. You know what I mean? So
let's hope so. So didn't they hit the bar at one point as well? Like, I think we got pretty lucky with a couple chances.
Yeah, for sure.
Could have been more.
The ball alive. A free throw. Davis comes in to pick it off. Here's Jake Davis onto his left foot. Jake!
You see, they're all afraid. And again, they're all afraid to get the penalty.
off one tackle, trying to keep the ball alive.
Like right there, like what
Davis
happened?
comes in to pick it off. Here's Jake Davis onto his
I
left.
mean, who's that just with a non-step tackle? It's like not even a tackle. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think it was Brekalo and Thorhausen right there.
Jake Davis onto,
and they just let him shoot. I mean, he was wide open. The whole problem that I have is like you gotta be. There are times that you gotta take that gamble, and you gotta go for getting the ball out.
Davis comes in to pick
And like right there, see how he falls. Like Brekalo, like I don't know, he just seems
it
like
off.
he thinks that Dagger's gonna stop him, and then just Dagger
Here's Jake
just
Davis onto his
turns left,
Yeah,
leaves him
I
like
mean,
right there. Why can't just Cesar shoot the ball? Like just you know what I mean?
But goes to ground.
Like right there, like
Right here.
how can a Frifa win that and they just stand there?
Two separate instances.
You know?
well, and then that there was Cesar just
Yep.
doesn't want to get the foul, so it doesn't really.
Correct.
He's got
Cesar
to
doesn't
stop
wanna-
that there,
Mhm.
and then Brekalo, and yeah,
Everyone is avoiding contact, and
Yep.
I think Dagger at the end he
Looks
also does the
as if
same thing.
Oh, has him down.
Like he gives him.
I
the
mean,
space.
Daggers more than anything probably would have been a penalty. You know, what I mean, like
Yeah, for sure.
if you got to stop that, you got Cesar's got to.
But those are the
bit
things
earlier.
that I mean. You gotta make a choice.
Down has the ability
Yeah.
to get.
Like I see in the Argentinian league a lot. Like they defend. Like sometimes you say really reckless, but they're really not really reckless. They're just hustling, for the ball. They do whatever it takes to get it out, and
On the ball, but
it's like how can you miss that? Like I was like,
that, goes to ground, wants a penalty that he
It's
doesn't get.
a really bad miss.
would you miss that on pickup soccer, John?
I mean, I probably 'cause I'm terrible, but I just think Ojeda is Ojeda, right?
Huh?
I think it's
Yeah, that was
Ojeda.
Ojeda. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It was Ojeda, right on the penalty spot.
He just sometimes he just eyes light. He does that thing where his eyes light up and he's like, "Oh, this is a great opportunity to smack the out of a ball." Like here, you just need a bit of finesse. Like look at where the goalkeeper is. You just put it in the other side of the net. Like he's trying to smack it in nearsighted. You know what I mean? That's the sort of intelligence finishing quality there where you just take that little bit of time to slot it in the empty space instead of trying to smack it. And I think sometimes Ojeda, like his eyes light up whenever that ball gets in a shooting position that he wants to put his foot through it. But as you can see, he's leaning back so much, and he's not that far away from the goal, Luis. Like if he's not leaning back, this is a goal.
Yeah,
But he comes into it so eager to smack it, but by the time he gets it's just not good technique. And he could pass it into the bottom corner.
Look, if you don't want to, another
there.
thing.
So that was just a poor decision and a poor shot. Very bad.
Yep.
Ball still alive, and then smash.
And I think him missing that messed with him mentally. I'm gonna say it today. I think it messed him
back and see that again because
look,
like we are on the attack here. I don't know if they show you. Did they show you any further back than this? We are literally
we're on the attack right here.
Like, look,
we're on.
we got the ball in there.
Yep.
Ball in for Torres.
And that's Dagger right there, and then Dagger stays in. He stays right there.
I think we need to be reining in our fullbacks a little bit, Luis. Dagger, I love the creativity, but he does get really high on the field. And Santos, like I said before, when we put him in too, look where they are. Like, is that Santos running back there or Angulo?
Yeah,
this is exactly right here. Look, Jansen and Brekalo.
Yeah.
And then you've immediately got a 3v2. There's no wide coverage from Angulo, Torres as well. Like, let's not forget, they also need to cover if one of the fullbacks go up. They need to make sure that they can help out if needed. And it's only the 50th minute. It looks like we're throwing everybody forward because we have.
For Sporting to hit on the counter. Jake Davis.
Yeah, right there. Like right there, Cartagena could have slide. And
Well,
and then, you know what I mean?
The right-hand side.
Yeah.
It would have at least made it uncomfortable for him to hit that.
This is what I was saying too about the fact that it just, as soon as we lost the ball there,
Yeah,
and
then
after
Dagger?
like a good bit of momentum and chances, I was like, well, they're going to come up the other end immediately now and score.
Of course.
And it was just written in the stars.
Yeah, and then you have and then you have Saloy, and then where's Dagger? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he was in the box. Like, of course he didn't get back. He was in the other box.
And then here we see him right here. We see him right here, obviously out of position. You know,
there's
like
Santos as well, just getting back just in
Santos
time.
just getting back too.
But Wilder Cesar also, where are they? Where, I mean, it's
No, I tell
what
people,
happens when you lose the ball this high up the field with that high a line.
No, do you feel like a point blank range, a keeper like that is gonna just get the ball miraculously? To me, it's almost impossible. I mean, there's been times that it has happened, but in this case, there's no. I mean, that shot was left-footed strike, like with a lot of power. There was no chance that Galeza was going to get that.
I don't really blame Galeza. I think it just, you know, we should have put in the tackle way further. Like, someone has to step up and make it a challenge there. And, you know, we need either Jansen or Brekalo to be like, I'm going to go forward and close down the man, because we didn't do that. And then we let him run all the way up there, and everyone gets back like, oh yeah, we're here now. But they weren't marking the players. They weren't looking for the runners coming in. Nobody really closed down the second runner. Like, it was too easy. Like, there was plenty of opportunities there to make a challenge, do something. And the Orlando City that we know under Oscar this is not what we expect. So
I agree wholeheartedly.
I think it was just a really bad day at the office. Let's just hope that
it was
chalk it up to that. Because
I mean, you're being really nice right now.
I'm just saying, like, I was very frustrated. I called it a pathetic performance on Twitter because it was.
Oh,
that's what it was here.
I didn't see that.
It was pretty pathetic, Luis. Let's be honest. Like, it was not something that they want to look back and remember.
For sure.
And so I think they need to, hopefully, I'm hoping serious words were had. Sometimes I question Oscar's sternness, right? His discipline, his level of, like, how to really tell them what for. And I think in this scenario, they really need this needs to be a wake-up call of, like, if you perform like this every week, it's over.
There's no way. Yeah. And I think this upcoming game, which we'll discuss in just a moment, I mean, it is if this is not, I mean, we keep saying this every home game, but it is a must win on this level because already the fans are pissed off, and it's just the energy is going to be weird. You're going to have the Leagues Cup outers back. It's just they got to prove, that this 2 weeks that they've gone, they've just not gone to Fun Spot or to Universal Studios. They've actually, try to get ready for the other half of the season. So, Colin OCSC says that defending looks like match fixing when you slow it down. LOL. So, I mean, we don't want to
bad times.
I mean, we don't want to say that this match fixing. No, you know what I mean. I know what you mean.
Fixing. But yeah, that's the thing as well, Luis. If it was like we lost like this away at like Cincy, I'd be like, okay, they played really well. They're a great team. Like,
but KC,
KC, this is like, if we lost like this to Chicago, that's the same thing basically. Like, KC are not good this year. I haven't been good in a while, and I'm sure they had a great night. surprised.
this is like basics of like
That's why I mean. It's like,
the
dude,
rules.
like get back. Like, what are you talking about? Like, get back, bro. Like, you
It's of
don't
the rules of the game.
like play it back, Louise. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
There's
what
like a
you
good
mean.
there's like a good 15, 20 seconds or so where Torres is just offside still. It's like
Right here, right here, right here.
Comes away
yeah.
with it. Look out.
Like here, he runs too far, right? He can see
Yeah.
the man. The only man is in between him and Enrique. What? And then he goes, "Oh, I'll hold my run,"
Yeah.
and then he calls for the ball again. It's completely
Duncan
Torres'
McGuire
fault.
gets it.
Like you call for the ball
Yeah,
when
that's
you can
offside
see
right
you're
there.
offside, and the
Yeah.
only man is in front of you. Like, be more intelligent than that. Like, it's just not a good decision. Get back
Question.
on side, and he just
Now,
asked for the ball while he's still offside. It's crazy.
imagine you being a scout from the EPL. Would you sign a player that doesn't know the offside rule?
I just, yeah. I mean, I think
There you go. You answered my question.
yeah, I have nothing to say. I mean, he knows the offside rule. I don't understand. Like, that's why I'm so annoyed. I'm like, dude.
I just can't believe how people still like believing rumors that he's gonna leave Orlando City, man. I'm saying he's not ready yet, man. He's green still. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah, we forget, right? Let's honestly hold on a second here, Luis. Let's take into account, right? And I forget this all the time. These guys are young, right? Let's look
Yeah,
at
of
our
course.
team, like
They're young.
Enrique, Torres, like even you talk about the likes of like like Ojeda being an older player in the team. He's not. He's like what,
No.
25?
They're
Something
younger
like
than
that.
us.
Like they're young guys, and they're gonna make silly mistakes, and they're
I'm
gonna
the
make
oldest.
errors, but they've got growth and they've got potential, right? Muriel, on the other hand,
Yep.
there's no excuses for
Correct.
intelligent
Wholeheartedly
making silly
agree.
errors like that he does in games, because you should know better because you're 34 or whatever you are, 32. So I think it's different things. I think sometimes we forget, Luis, like our star players, a lot of them are very young. Like Dagger is very young. I mean, even Brecklow is only like 23, I think 24 maybe. So it's okay. They're gonna have games where they're just completely off.
Just
But this one from Torres, I was like, why are you even looking at the side ref? Like it's offside because you asked for the ball while you were offside. Like, anyway.
I would have just celebrated. Just tried it.
It was the kind of thing I would do because I'm what they did here. Do you like? Did the guy take away the second yellow for the red, and give him a straight red when he was already on a yellow? Is that what happened after the VAR? Because
behind.
But he called the red card, and then like it was a yellow card, right? Anyway, regardless. So then it's a red, and he goes off. So what are you going to look at? Like, is it not a yellow card? You're like,
maybe they told him over the headset.
But then he like didn't you see afterwards? The ref did like I don't know what he did. He almost like rescinded the yellow card and gave him a red card. But he'd already given him a red card.
And they can, and they can.
So I think he took it away the yellow instead of giving you a straight red.
Yeah, they gave him a straight red after
you already had a yellow, so that's like okay, well,
because you have to measure not only
the level of the foul.
Yeah, you not only have to measure intent, but you also have to. It was from behind, and it was a violent tackle. I mean, they were able to zoom.
You couldn't just do that after the fact, though. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Like after the fact, they just go, we we looked at the tackle, and in fact, we won a full red, 2-game suspension, whatever. It just all felt a little bit stupid and kind of just more dumb VAR usage for me personally.
Now, after the fact of this, they were down 10 men. Now, obviously, expecting a comeback, Orlando has done it already. They already came back. They've actually won a game or tied it, to the death. And obviously, but, let's say, but I needed to see more edge of this team. I needed to see more of like a, like we are, more, I guess it's going to sound so cliche, more leadership. I felt like there was not a voice unless it was Oscar from the side and his staff. There wasn't a voice inside that will say, "Hey, let's regain together and like this is a chance for us to, you know, it continue. You know, the turnovers continue. And that's why the third goal came. You know, the bad defending, the turnovering, turnover of the ball, all of that. So I just feel like, I expected more of like, you have somebody like Luis Muriel right there that has played, in Europe and national team, all of that, going to World Cups. Bro, like, step up, man. I mean, Galeza can do so much. He's a goalie. You have today a bad day in the office by Jansen, but I guess we need to see that, because I remember, I know I hate to compare, but in the 90 years, when Orlando will have games like this, poop in the bed, Nani will just kind of, yes, there was a clear message from Oscar on how to handle the situation, but also he's not actually playing physically on the pitch. They are. So Nani would like go and just be like, "Hey guys, like let's get together. Like this is what we're gonna do." And then boom, go. You gotta go by Tesho. You gotta go by Nani. You gotta go by you know, um, So we don't see that. I mean, I just felt like they just gave up. I mean,
That's
yeah,
what you're talking
my
about,
bad,
right?
yeah.
We didn't, and we don't have like Torres or anybody like Ojeda. Someone needs smooth Monday. Love and blessings to all. Just a little sad. Any encouraging words to ease the pain, Luis? I was trying to think about some positives from this game, and I'm struggling. Help me.
We already pooped the bed. We just gotta clean it up and just make sure not to do it again. I think that's my positive. And we need to see more of a. I guess I'll take staying position.
I have a weird positive for you, but we'll talk about that in the next section when we talk about upcoming games.
Yeah, sure.
It's a very strange silver lining from this situation.
This is for the loyal, respectful fans who never throw shade or on the team. There you go. Thank you. Poop the bed is crazy, but hey, it's happened to all. That's right. I mean,
I know how those, times where you just can't, you're just like, I give up today. I should just go home because everything I do is useless and can't do it right. It happens. And
yeah.
that, it was a bit of a group pooping of the bed, right? We just, as a team, I was trying to think like here on Software Score, Luis, Wilder got the highest rating of all the players. I was trying to, probably him, maybe Pedro, because he did make some good saves as well. Like, who had a good performance here? I'm not. Ramiro was okay. He missed some chances he should have taken. I think we're thinking more about who had really bad games, but I'm
Well, I mean, if you want to
who had a
point,
good game.
yeah, I mean, I think Ivan had a not so
Yeah.
great game.
I mean, that's there. I'll try to be positive, but
Yeah, but if we want to be
not a lot
positive,
of positives from this match at
if we
all.
want to be positive, is there's a chance they can redeem themselves at home, and we have to now treat every game as a final, and we just gotta shake it off like Taylor Swift, and just move on, and we can let this happen. It just can't. I mean, if we're gonna, like you said, if we're gonna keep playing like that, I mean, it's not gonna look very, very good.
No.
Now, then this happened right here after this.
Those two are in the box, like the whole line of play. Where's Wilder? I don't know
Pennsylvania.
if they're on the pitch still at this point, but
Well,
where are
Wilder,
our two D mids? Like,
yeah, our D mids are completely non-existent. They just let him shoot completely open.
they just gave up by that point, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'd say the usual, what do you call the double pivot? The coverage, the 2 6s in front of our back line. There was periods where they're just missing this game. And
So
Nico had come on at this point for Cesar, so Nico, he just loves to go wide. If you notice, he just loves the left wing. Like he wants to
Right.
play as a left winger, and I don't understand that at all. So there's no one in the middle for when he's on the field there. So really, it's just Wilder, and I think Wilder chased the guy into the corner. So maybe it's not even Wilder's fault, but then someone else needs to come in. Like, where's that? I mean, I know it's late in the game and whatever, but it's
But then you
it
see
just
a,
it
a, a
was just
common
bad, especially
denominator
with we got a
on,
player up, Luis.
if people from other teams are watching this show, or because they want to know about more about Orlando. I mean, you see a common denominator here, and to the 89 people watching us, thank you so much for your support. Drop us your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. um Common denominator is when our double pivots and our left backs and right backs are having a bad game, but mainly our double pivot, at least one of them is having a bad night. It's a domino effect on the whole entire team, which it should not happen, because you still have your back line, you still have, but it's just happened that
We're very reliant on
yeah,
them to
we need
cover and
to,
work hard and have a good game.
we need to have another trick up our sleeve on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Colin Jesse says Wills cannot be happy with how the money was spent this season. Going to be interesting off season. I mean, I think there's a big price tag on. Well, we didn't pay any money for Muriel, but there's a lot of money tied up in his contract. That I think that's the question, right, Luis? Is we'll see what happens. Obviously, end of the season, blah blah blah, with everything, but I think it's going to be, if we really want to make changes to this squad, the big question for me is, are you going to buy out a guy who has been ineffective but is earning the most money in a big chunk of your, and that's 10, like I think we're talking, 9 million or something. I don't know what he's got left on his contract over however many years, but you're talking like a big chunk of money to do that. So are they going to be owners that are willing to say, yeah, we'll pay out and so we can get it? Or are they going to be owners who say, no, you pick this guy, like to the GM or whatever, and he's on a contract and we're going to have to pay him out for a little bit until maybe we only have to pay him out for less, we could buy him out for less money in a few years or whatever. But is it going to be a Shaqiri situation, right? Like that's a big question for me. So I think before we kind of
honestly,
see what happens, maybe Muriel can finally figure it out, but I'm not hopeful based on everything we've seen so far. It's not improving. It's just the man, Luis, to try to rant about him for a second, but he doesn't even get anywhere near the box. He's not a striker. Is that Oscar that's told him you're allowed to just now be a creative, dropping deep. He's not even a 10. Like he's so deep in midfield. And I don't understand. We have a striker who has scored 2 goals and is not looking like he's trying to do something about that situation.
Look, you have to understand also, I think people want to see blood also. I think people want to see radical change, and that is not real. Like it's utopic. It's a utopia. It's like you wish it could be that way, but it ain't work that way, unfortunately. So, it is a team that has come from 8 games without losing, played the League's Cup, whether people wanted to watch it or not. They played through the League's Cup. They were the better team in a lot of occasions, and they were 8 games unbeaten. And this is a game that they pooped the bed. And, Orlando, I feel like what people, some of the reactions are they lost 1 game. It's like kind of like listening to Hawthorne Heights or like Under Oath. Like they go all emo and then go like destruction and chaos. I just want to like grab a bat and just kill my TB, and I totally understand the frustration, but also we have to be level-headed as fans and not really just throw everything down the drain. Orlando, they're gonna do what's best for their organization. And I feel like this whole thing about getting rid of the manager, getting rid of all these players, like fire everybody attitude ain't gonna work. It's not real. Yes, Muriel is not performing well. I agree with that 110%. I just think that the club is going to do what's best for the club. I feel the Wolves are going to do what's best for the club, and and see what happens. I mean, again, it's like that. Now you have to understand also where you're at, your market. You're Orlando. You're not LA.
Well, I think
Seattle. You're not
I think
Columbus.
obviously we'll see what happens at the end of the
You're Orlando.
season, but we don't know. Like I said, with the Wills, right? They backed Oscar, but
Yep.
there's always going to be questions about
Right.
what were the objectives for this year. And
Yeah,
at the
sure.
beginning of the year, we were talking about being
Sure.
a team that's, so they've invested in Oscar thinking that we're going to
Mhm.
be better than we were last year. It's not working out that way.
Mhm. One
Maybe we'll
game.
like one game, totally. Like we can turn it around and we'll
Right.
talk about what's coming up. Like we can look a lot. It can be like we are a hot and cold team at times, right? We could continue cold or we could go hot again.
Also the responsibilities have to be also to the players. Like
Right.
it always could
Yeah,
be. Yeah,
exactly.
it could not always be the front office. It cannot always be the Wells. It cannot always be
Yeah.
Oscar.
The buck
Oscar,
falls on them more than
right?
anybody, but
Like
the players are part of it, of
like
course.
the players also have to own up to it, because I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we have three great performances by Dagger Dan, and then this performance was not great. And then what happened to Ivan? But how consistent, if you take it the whole season, how consistent has Ivan be? And now, as a fan, do you think that Vinicius Jr. is going to sign for Orlando? That's unreal. That's not going to happen. Do you think Jack Grealish will sign for Orlando? No, that's unreal. I'll be selling you smoke. What you got is Ivan Angulo. Overall, the games that he has had have been positive. In this game, I feel like, yeah, he pooped the bed. He turned over every single ball he had.
For
But,
sure.
you know,
I just think at the end of the year, it's going to be a question of, we haven't seen with the Wills what they want to do, right? Like I said, the Oscar will have objectives, they'll have ideas. It's going to be a question of, do they want to roll the dice again with him and stick and get more players, or are they going to want to change it up? Are they going to change up the DPs? Are they going to not? Are they going to?
yeah,
Who knows, right? Like
yeah,
we've seen even in mid-season, some of these other teams like can do a lot of changing around of your squad. So with a full off season and everything else, we're going to see what the reaction is. I think obviously there's an emotional reaction from the game, but I don't
correct.
think that should bleed over into the whole season analysis
For
yet,
sure.
because the season's not over and everything. And we got to be rational about all these things. You got to look at it. Who knows, right? We might go on for the rest of the season and look like we were right before the break and go into MLS playoffs looking hot and, get to a good end of the season, get to win the conference final maybe. And then you're like, all right,
And then we'll lose the final, and
let's
then what
go again,
happens?
right? Like, who knows? Like, it can happen. I just think after this game, we need to see a definite reaction for the
No,
next one. We cannot
but
continue
for sure,
in
I
this
agree with you.
form.
But
So,
my
yeah.
question is, there is people, and I do want to say this, that, all right, let's say that happens, John, and we reach the Easter Conference Finals. And then, or no, let's say we go into the MLS Finals for the MLS Cup. I don't know how, but we go there. And then what? We lose, and then we're just gonna throw away like them getting there. You know what I mean? Like, we also have to value the team overall. And what now, because we've lost the final, we're going to now reflect back on the first 7 games that we play like crap in the beginning of the season and blame that to us no winning the MLS Cup. So it just becomes a repetitive cycle of pointing to blame without knowing what they're talking about. It feels like sometimes, at least for me, because you got to know your market, you got to know your town, you got to know what type of brand you are, what's your reach. Like if you look at the Instagram for the club, and go and look the Instagram for, like, I don't know, RSL, and look how many likes a post has. Like that is tangible proof right there. Like you have to know your, like The Rock says, know your role, you know like, and so I feel like sometimes, like, we are just, yes, this is a terrible game. Things Muriel's playing like crap, and he needs to get it together. But I feel like we can take, like you said, some of this game, and then move on to the next ones and see what happens. But I feel like
I think it's
people
just
have some people
emotional
have
reactions.
unrealistic expectations for the brand.
I think it's a mix of all of that, right? Emotional reactions, expectations, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's just a case that we're gonna see at the end of the year. Like I'm not gonna, like I said before, I think we should just say this was a one game. Hopefully, we're not gonna perform like that going forward. We're gonna see a reaction. Gonna be back to more of the team that we look like before the break, etc. I still think we can turn it. Like it's not all doom and gloom. But it's now or never, right? Like we said that a bunch. It's got to be an instant reaction for the next match, and then going forward. So, do you want to look at the sort of schedule going forward,
Sure,
Luis?
sure. Do you have the? Do you want to share your screen, or
Yep,
you want me to
I
share
got it
mine?
here. I'll show
Yep.
you. So games coming up for us.
Oof.
Obviously, this weekend, we take
Yep.
on Nashville
They have
at home.
two back-to-back home games.
Yes, and then we're gonna play New England at home, who just had I think, what was it? They beat somebody this week. I think it was Montreal, I want to say, or like with a big score line. So even though they're down there at the bottom of the table, they might be getting their stuff together. And then we got to go play Charlotte at home
Yep.
as well, who are, you know, made a lot of summer transfer moves. That's not going to be that easy. Then we're going to go away to Columbus. And then we're going to go away to Dallas. Obviously away to Columbus. Yeah. I mean, that's never a good trip right now. I think it's going to be
Oh,
a very, very
Columbus is in a different level right now.
tough game for us, regardless of what form we're in. Doesn't matter. That's going to be a rough game. Away to Dallas, who I haven't checked exactly
Play
where they are
Rouen
on there,
again.
but Wuhan, another game against
Imagine
Wuhan.
we play with
Yeah.
we playing with two different
Um,
teams this year.
then we're back home
Yep.
against Philly.
Philly.
So another top up there. And then we're away at Cincy. So yeah, not easy as well. And then finally, we're going to end the season at home in Atlanta in a
Yeah.
game that might end up being really significant to whether we make the playoffs or not this year. Hopefully not, but it could all come down to that
No, we
home
will.
match against,
We will. We will make the
our
playoffs.
rivals before that. So not an easy road ahead, Louise. The home games against, well, for one, the Sporting KC game that we just lost was, if everyone was looking at this, that should have been 3 points,
Yeah,
really.
for sure. Yeah.
As the road team that we are and can be, we could have gone there and won that game. At home to Nashville now, at home to New England, at home to Charlotte, we need 9 points. These are home
Yeah.
games against teams that we can beat. Not like that difficult either, like teams around us or below us in the table. If we don't get 9 points from these 3 games coming up, Louise, I think I'm not hopeful for the rest of the season. Honestly, I think we really need to secure some points here, because away at Columbus, at home to Philly, away to Cincy, there's going to be tough games to get a lot of points out of. Maybe one if we're lucky, maybe
So
right now,
realistically,
So away at Dallas is maybe a win if we're lucky, maybe a draw. Home to Atlantic, could be, who knows what they're going to look like by the end of the season. Probably not much better. So that could be okay, but it'll come down to that potentially. It's just not looking comfortable. We need to get something out of these next 3 games.
um, to me, realistically speaking, the games that we looking at what's happening now with those teams to throw away are Columbus and Cincy. I will, those could be losses. Those could be major losses. Columbus is right now winning a lot of gold, a lot of silverware for their club. It's looking great. They're with a lot of them. They just beat LAFC, which is another, with Giroud right there, not contributing, pulling a Luis Muriel on LAFC. um, but and then Cincinnati's role and patience also of their fandom, because they didn't start very good, and they're now one of the top teams in the league in my opinion. So, but the rest of the games I feel like they're attainable. We have unfinished business with Charlotte. Nashville right now, I mean, obviously they're a good team, they're a good organization, but they're like way down the bottom, and it is important for us to capitalize on those. They're coming out of this really horrible loss against Sporting KC. They need to give the fans what they paid for. So this is the chance. So the Nashville game needs to be a W. New England, they're doing a little better, but they're still also right there, not looking very good. They have again, we faced them again before, and they have the win backs that they have are phenomenal. So Dallas, we need to just try to see if we go for the draw. But this is Dallas is an organization that Oscar knows in and out. So but then all the home games moving forward this is going to be, to me, like more than focusing on Columbus, Cincy, and Dallas. It's going to be Orlando City Soccer Club players, front office versus the wall and the fans. I feel like this is a do or die for them to either have a loving end of the season and a loving relationship, or they're going to pit against each other, because it's an opportunity for them to truly like go into a role at home. They have 5 games at home. I think they need to capitalize on that. That to me will say, if we have 2 L's and then the rest of them wins or draws, I think we'll make the playoffs easy. I mean, now what happens during the playoffs, that's another story. That's when the season starts again,
we were talking earlier, there's that comment from Stream Jesus. Any encouraging words to ease the pain?
Correct.
This is my encouraging words. I feel like Oscar is a very good manager for like periods of like time, like cup managers. Like we get hot and we get cold, right? Beginning of the season really cold, then we had that really hot streak, and then who knows what's going to happen right now. But if we are going to be a little bit cold for a few games, maybe we can grind out some results, not performing super well at home against some teams that aren't great, and build up a bit, right? Because last year our problem was we went into the playoffs. We were on such a high coming up to the playoffs, and there's so many wins at the end of the season, and we just kind of tanked right before we didn't take that good form into the playoffs. So maybe the silver lining is, if we're not performing great right now, we can get through some home games, get some results maybe, and build up for them to maybe getting an away result at the likes of Columbus or Philly or Cincy or whatever, and then going into the playoffs with some real momentum, looking like a team that's on fire like we were right before the break. If that's what we can do, then I'll take looking like it got to get a few games to get whatever that was out of our system. But that's my only little potential silver lining, that sometimes we're only hot when we're hot, and maybe we got to just get hot again. And then if we're ending the season in that sort of form, then that's going to be better for the playoffs than it was last year.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to find some some positivity going forward because it was rough last week.
I mean, you can take that luxury if you win the next 3 games. You know?
Right.
Like if
We
you win
yeah.
the next 3 games or get, let's say, 2 wins and a draw, then yeah, a loss against Columbus, it ain't gonna really. I mean, Columbus are a superior team. I mean, you gotta give them
Yeah.
that.
I
And
just I want to look good going into the playoffs. You know,
yeah,
as long as we secure the playoffs, we got to look like, you know, we
now
need to
also
look like that team that we just before the
now
break, like that team that won
also
8 in a row.
I mean, I understand people say, yeah, we should not be. It's also strategy, kind of like what John is saying. So it doesn't. I mean, as long as you make the playoffs, I mean, there's a new tournament that starts there. Whatever happened before.
Like, imagine we go into the playoffs and Enrique's scoring goals and
Yeah,
Duncan's scoring
right.
goals and,
So
Facu's scoring goals again. Ojeda, like, if
or
that's
Muriel
what
go,
we
or
need,
Muriel, taps Ultra Instinct and then he just goes
sure.
berserk,
Like,
right? Yeah, I'm
what I'm
just
saying is we got to go in with our best players playing well, scoring goals, performing for each other, defending well. Pedro's got to be on fire, doing his thing. All of that needs to happen, and we got this amount of time to do it in. So let's see.
now
Let's see how we end the season.
Now September 6th, there's the international break. So for South America. So when is the Nashville game? Can you scroll up, John, real quick?
The Nashville game is
It's
the
the 31st.
31st. Yep,
So
this Saturday.
he's gonna play that one, and then more than likely Peru, Ecuador. I'm trying to look for Ecuador versus Peru. You're looking at September 10th. So yeah, no, he'll be back for the New England game. Yeah, so yeah, because the flight is pretty short, and then he goes from Lima to Orlando. Yeah, so I mean, they'll be in all those games. So it's not like we're gonna be missing players. It's not like we're gonna be missing Pedro. So
Yeah.
yeah.
A few more comments. Colin says just one game. The whole first half of the season was garbage. I
I
mean,
agree.
you're not wrong with that. I'd love to understand more about Rico and Muzi's strategy or issues, but they don't speak to us. I mean, no GMs would, right? Like,
Correct.
it's
When have you
not.
seen,
Yeah.
John? When have you seen a team that their front office openly talks to fans?
It doesn't happen very often. I think Haley on the
Right.
Pride
Yeah.
side is extremely
Right.
open
But
about her decisions, but she would never, like, that's after, like, it's just publicly about what she wants to tell you. She's not going to tell you anything she doesn't want to tell
exactly.
you. And that's the job. Like, that's how it is. We shouldn't be privy, but obviously, like, we know certain things, conversations, etc., etc. He says Cincy GM did a 20-minute interview about their summer window. Like, yeah, I mean, we've had
we can
there's
get him to do
interviews
an
from out
interview,
there from
but
Ricardo. There's
we can
interviews
do an
with
interview with the Ricardo. That's not a
we
problem. But
we'll
it's
do
just
one. Yeah, I mean, we
he,
found them, but they're still not gonna.
but
He's still
yeah, they're not
saying
gonna
it's
say, "Hey, I'm
PR.
gonna." Right.
They're not gonna tell you the stuff they don't want to tell you. That's what we're saying. Like, it's.
You know.
I think it's cool, and Haley just did one for NWSL that was with Prime that went broadcast live during the Pride conference. So I think it, like, I know Luis has done one. He did one in the summer transfer window just gone with ESPN, I believe. So it does happen. It's just a case of a lot of the time they're just confirming the stories or talking about the players, or it's the
Plus, they have
news
their
that
outlets. They
we
also have their
know.
outlets of that. They also have their outlets of their choosing.
Yeah, of course.
To whom they feel comfortable on telling them that. Like when you go
Right.
to the UK, some managers like to speak to Sky Sports, or they like to speak to certain, and
Yeah.
and that's okay. We're not here to change the world. We're not Pinky and the Brain. You know what I mean? We're here to to be a positive entity for the Orlando City community. Now, great about Cincinnati, but the cases are very, very different. Each team its own, each market its own, each fan base its own. In this scenario, Cincy fans, my respect for them, because they started being like the Cinderella of the MLS, and now to me at least, is one of the best teams in the MLS. And it's I've never seen a Cincy fan going like crying mode
we
so
went
much.
from being like a little bit better than Cincy to being a little bit worse than Cincy, and
To
they
those.
went from being a lot worse than us to being a lot better than us. So
Mhm.
that's sort of where it's like, we've seen some growth, of course, over the years with the club, but we need to push further if we want to win something.
Mhm. For sure, I agree. The Galaxy just signed Marco Royce.
I don't think it's got that going to be our. That's not going to be the
Right?
Cincy model is what we should go for,
I know,
right?
me too. I agree.
Cincy
I
are
agree.
getting like,
No, but that's what
or
I've
or
but
go
that's
the
what I've
other
read.
way and go
I've read comments of
academy
people.
and be like the Philly model and be like we should
Yeah,
be like them and
I've read
bring all
I've
the
read
academy
comments.
players through.
Yeah, I read comments of some people. LA just got Marco Royce,
Yeah,
LAFC just got
the
Giroud. I'm saying, bro, Giroud. It's
I don't think our way is to
yeah,
sign like it's just not our game plan, and
yeah,
that's okay. And I don't disagree with what we've been doing. I think we have a lot of good players. I think it's just we're very inconsistent, and I think
yep.
that's the
I agree
issue.
with you.
We're not consistent enough. I
No,
think our team on paper, like in the beginning of the season, anyway,
no,
we'll get into that. But we know that
we
there's
got Heine, and we
a lot
got
of hype at the
Utaro.
beginning of the season.
We also have to take into consideration in this run right here for the Lions that we have Heine and Utaro.
Yataro again getting on the field, and
Utaro's
obviously he played
man,
OCB, scored a goal, and then 2 days later got on the field. So he must
crazy.
have flown out later or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
but he played was it like the day before or the 2 days before in OCB?
I feel it. Look, I feel like
Trasso too, man. He's been playing well. He scored a goal for
Petras's playing
OCB. Like
great.
he
Assists.
might be an answer to this left back
Yep.
situation we got right now.
Wholeheartedly agree with you. And
We'll
that's one
see.
thing that Oscar needs to put a little sooner, I feel sometimes. If things are not working for you, like imagine if things weren't
Yeah.
working like that with Angulo,
Yeah.
put
If you're saying I'm not
put
happy with Kyle
Utaro.
Smith, I'm not happy with Santos right now. Why not?
Yeah.
Like
Luca.
Nashville
Yeah.
at home, give Petrasso a shot.
Yeah.
If you feel like you could put him against Cruz Azul, why can't we put him against
Exactly.
Nashville? Right? Like that's where I'm like, and Sakata, man, like let's get more minutes for him.
Yeah.
We gotta, and Duncan needs to. We'll
Go
talk
back.
more about lineups on Thursday, Luis, but I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of seeing Enrique and Duncan both, maybe put
Start.
Enrique at left wing and put Duncan up top. Like it would
Who
be
you gonna
nice to
Who you
see
gonna
the option
bench?
of
Angulo?
maybe not right now, but after that performance, it could be. It could happen. I don't think Oscar would do it because
No, I don't think he'll do it.
Oscar loves the defensive effort that
Yeah.
Angulo puts in, but I just think we could experiment a little bit with the idea of trying to get Enrique and Duncan on the field at the same time.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Yep.
All right, I don't know if we have anything else to talk about today. I feel like we've
101 people. Thank you so much. About 100 about 98 people on X and about 4 people on YouTube. So appreciate you guys.
I gotta say this, Luis. I try not to be so depressing, but this is a difficult episode to find
It was
many
tough.
positives here, and I think that we have to be honest. And it
Yeah.
was depressing to watch. It was a
Yeah.
rough performance. I'm sure the players are. I'm sure
They
they
were
know.
probably pissed off.
I'm sure they are annoyed with themselves. I'm sure that bus ride and the plane ride and all
Yeah.
that journey home was not fun.
Yep, not
at
fun
all.
at all. Yep, you're right.
So it's just a case, Luis, like we said, put this one behind us. All eyes on Nashville. Must win game.
Yeah,
Let's go again.
let's kiss some makeup, and smoke the peace pipe and just be
And let's say I'm excited for home again.
yeah.
Like obviously we'll talk more on Thursday, but we
Yeah,
haven't had a home game
in a
in
while.
MLS in a while with both the supporter groups back, the
There you go.
stadium decently full, I hope. Like
Hopefully a tifo,
Maybe that's
little,
what this team needs is
yeah,
a bit of love,
a little bit of love. That's
a
what
little
I'm
bit of
saying.
love to get them going.
Yeah, a
You
little
know,
bit of love.
let's
Love
see.
is all you need. Yep. So, is there any more comments? Right here in the Instagram, I want to thank Peña Lima. Thank you to all my friends, FC Barcelona fans from Peru. Thank you so much. El Presidente, Joel Reyes, and Andrea, Eugene, Danny Man 373, Mamu 2B. There you go. Thank you so much. Big Al Lem 8. There you go. Thank you so much. I wish I could have a cool nickname like that on IG.
That's some pretty dope nicknames.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we have Pride Pot tomorrow,
Yep.
and happy times there. Uh,
It'll yeah.
low raisin rainbows and
I posted
sunshine.
my no Goku, Grogu,
Grogu. Oh yeah,
the happy sad face.
yeah.
Like just think about, I said think about Pride whenever I'm sad. I think about Orlando Pride and their unbeaten streak. So that's why I say to all the City fans, we've been saying it all year, right, Luis? Like maybe, come watch the Pride game this weekend as well.
I'm telling you,
And
they're close to a championship,
yeah, if
and
let's say Saturday night you could watch Orlando City win, that would be great, and then you could follow it up
Sunday
with a Sunday night Pride win.
for sure. I mean,
Or maybe,
they
maybe things don't go so well on Saturday, and then you could still
no.
come
I
on
think they're gonna
Sunday.
go well.
Okay, all right.
I'm trying
I'm gonna
to
knock on wood. I'm gonna be
stay
positive,
so
Luis.
positive.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But I mean, being really like, you know, all jokes aside, obviously the Pride are doing tremendous, and they are closest to truly contend for a championship in the NWSL. Don't get late to the party. Let's all unite as a community, a Central Florida community, and support Orlando Pride. Whether you feel, some type of way, swallow your pride. Be like Goku. Don't be like Vegeta this time. And try to, just do the right thing and support Orlando sports. You know, if they do win the championship, they'll be the first major championship in for an Orlando team in the whole entire city. We're not known for our championships in Orlando, and that is a fact. So I think we should rally up on the Pride, and plus they're doing a great thing for the community as well. So my hats off for them, and hopefully tomorrow we have a great episode, and then on Thursday we have back here at the City Pod doing the full analysis on Nashville, and yeah, and then we have I'll be going back to the stadium on Saturday, hopefully with a new photographer, John. So
Yeah, that'll be great. You want to do socials?
yeah, definitely. You can listen to us, and if you're listening to this, thank you so much for your support. We're available on Spotify and also on Apple Podcasts. Drop us a comment, a rating, 5-star rating. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. As well on X at LP_podcast, Instagram as LP_podcast, Facebook, and on YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando. Thank you so much for your support, guys. Appreciate it.
I want to thank Stream Jesus and Colin OCSC and
Yeah, appreciate it,
Air
Colin.
Vega who commented today. They came and hung out with us on
For sure.
a not so fun pod to do this
Man,
one.
it was tough to be on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, let's hope for better news next week. Obviously, Thursday, I'll say we'll be back to preview Nashville, and we'll talk a little bit about OCB as well.
All right, guys. Well, vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando.
Have a good one.